Right on the money.
I didn't stand up like I usually do out of habit.
No, we're not gonna, we will call the meeting back into order. It is, what is today? It is Thursday, December 3rd, 2020. And we are doing CARES. You guys got me cussing a lot and I don't ever cuss.
Whoa, 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 don't blame that shit on me.
Like it's us, I think. It's just a virus.
Yeah, it's a sitting. I'm not made for sitting.
I think I have Julie and Teresa on the phone or on Zoom.
Hi, everybody.
There they
Howdy.
are.
God said good morning.
We've been in budget meetings all morning, so we're raring to go.
We're slap happy.
We'll try to make this as painless as possible. How about that?
So
Okay.
you're the only one on the agenda at the moment, so we're going straight to you.
All right, well, let's get started. So, just to touch on the agenda, we do have a few things we want to walk through with you from actual to budget, just to give you a sense of where we are. So, as you know, that the budget that was approved was $285,000. Through November, that number is $260,000. So we have about $25,000 left. And just to kind of put that in perspective, so in the month of November, we spent about $30,000. So, we'll try to wrap things up here in December and then finish out the reporting and the subrecipient monitoring in January. So kind of in order to be sure we stay within that, you'll see our hours probably drop off. If something changes and we need to adjust, obviously we can do that. But, does anybody have any questions on that?
Nope.
Nope.
So, go ahead. Okay. So then the next thing that we want to do is talk through, as we looked at the allocation, if you look at the allocation document, which is something that we've been looking at each week, you'll see on page 2 at the bottom, the remaining allocation, this is before any approvals today. There's $3,021,000 left in the pool of funds from CARES Act. And that includes the $36,819 that you see at the bottom that was, either withdrawn or not funded. So kind of just keep that $3 million in the back of your mind as we talk through the various recommendations for funding in terms of, what is eligible. So, when we started the process for November through November 30th, we had talked about $300,000 being allocated to the schools, $300,000 to cities, roughly $100,000 with nonprofits and small business, and then there's also a couple like the fire district, I believe, and a couple of other kind of miscellaneous items. So that gets us to $1 million, which leaves that $2 million available for the county for whatever internal needs they have. So at this point, as we go through, we would recommend, that we go ahead and close the application process. We'll talk through all the different requests that we've gotten, which is well in excess of, the totals that we've talked about, so that we can definitely spend that money. But we just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of perspective on where we're going to start from. So before I go any further, does anybody have any questions on that?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. So then what I'm going to do is turn it over to Teresa. And what we've done is, and I'm just talking kind of big picture, is for the three, let's just say, for example, let's talk about the cities. We only had 3 cities submit additional requests. And so we've done a stair-step recommendation, suggestion, options, whatever you want to call it, where our first step was to go ahead, as part of that funding methodology, continue with the same methodology we've had since the beginning, which means it would be based on population. So if there's a city that's not received their original allocation, that would be the kind of the first thing to fund. And then any other amounts left over would get reallocated, still based on population, but just be reallocated within those requests. So it's kind of a stair step. So think about, first thing we want to do is make sure somebody's not received their allocation and they were eligible for it, that would be the first step. And then the second step is then to reallocate that money using that same methodology that we've used in the past, so that really kind of protects the county from changing the method or people saying, well, no, I thought it was going to be this way. It's very consistent with what you've done in the past. And so that's kind of big picture what we're going to do, and then Teresa's going to walk through specifically what that looks like. And then the last thing we'll talk about is the specific requests. So then you can decide, what you want to fund from there. Make sense?
Yep.
Somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Teresa, go for it.
Here's mine. So yeah, I'm just gonna go over that cities and school suggestions real quick, just so you can kind of get an idea of where we're kind of coming from with that. Julie explained it pretty well with what we're doing. So we have listed out the cities and the schools that had made a request here in this last little period, what their original allocation balance remaining was, so what they had not gotten from those first phases. So for example, Centertown had not requested any money previously, so that 577794 was their original allocation in total. So what we were doing is, like Julie said, filling that bucket first. So we will fund anything that hadn't been allocated on that first phase 1 through 3 kind of thing. So that's the same with the cities and the schools. So you can see like R5 Eugene, they didn't get their full request, allocation request the first time. So that $15,000 of their final request, that's more than, or that's less than what their original request was. So then we did a calculation based on the population of those people that had a request. So this isn't the population total of the county or the enrollment of all the school districts. This is just the ones that put in a request. So we took a percentage, and then we allocated out the remainder after that first bucket, that original allocation amount was taken out. And then we came up with a final allocation suggestion. So the one thing I do want to point out is some of these things have not been purchased yet. So for example, the Centertown, that's for some remote water meter readers. So I'm not sure if you give them $7,000, if they would purchase, because their request was for $67,000, if they would actually end up purchasing that. So that's something to consider as well. Same thing with the private schools. They have specific items that they're requesting that Cole County would purchase on their behalf. So whether or not they would use that full allotment of money if we divide it this way, that's another concern. But something just to consider when you're kind of thinking through these items. So that's all I would say. Go ahead, Julie.
Sorry, and then Stephanie there. Anybody that would decline funding at this point, again, our recommendation would be that it would just go back to the county and then allow the county, to either purchase items on behalf of the citizens or, use the presumption of payroll, whichever, way. But at this point, we wouldn't go back and try to reallocate it. It's really, at this point, just a matter then for the county to, determine any remaining funds and how to best spend that money.
I like the fact we're we've got some of our communities out in the county, we've got our schools out in the county, so I like this, and I would hope that, you know, they can utilize it before the end of the year, but,
Yeah, and some of these are reimbursements, but there are some in there that have not been purchased yet.
And one of the things we would require is for anyone that's not purchased, you know, we would probably say they have until the 15th to make that purchase. And then if not, or they have to, you know, it basically, you know, you don't want to be waiting the 31st of December or even the 30th of December, the 30th, and scrambling at that point. We'll need to be able to react. So anybody that's not spent their money is gonna have to make some quick decisions, or that money's gonna revert back to the county.
That's not just spending, that's gonna be giving us an answer before then, right? Whether they accept or reject the funding.
Yeah, and I'll get these subrecipient agreements out today.
Then if they accept it, they have until a certain date to get it purchased.
Right,
well, if they accept it, they have till December 31st, right?
30 to make the
Well, that
purchase.
depends on what we want.
Yeah,
Yeah, your only risk there is that if someone doesn't, then, you know, that's gonna be money that won't be spent.
We
And
can
that's
make that
something-
rule though, right?
I'm sorry?
We can make that rule, right? We can tell them they've gotta get it purchased by such and
Yes,
such
you can
date.
certainly make it earlier than the 30th, yes,
A lot of these will have purchase orders or something that we'd be able to use.
right?
Well, we just need to give them a cutoff date so we know what's left money-wise, if you're intending to use the rest of
Yeah,
it
because
here.
if we wait till after Christmas, then
We only have
if
one
they decide
budget.
Yeah.
they don't want it, we
Yeah.
lose the money and goes back, so I'm not saying.
and I don't really want
Okay,
anybody to go
yeah,
back.
make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Julie was saying, suggesting maybe telling them the 15th to get those things in. That way we have enough time
Monday the
to make those determinations.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go ahead, if there's no questions on that for the moment, I'll go ahead and start with the funding recommendation sheet.
So, yeah, before you get started, so
Sure.
your recommendation for cities and schools doesn't follow the other sheet with the eligible costs.
Correct. I just wanted to, those have exactly everything that is eligible for each of those entities. So you can approve more than what we're suggesting. I just wanted to put together this so you kind of could see maybe a different, a constant methodology that we're using throughout, that you could approve based on. So that is correct. The amount on the eligible side is gonna be more on the funding recommendation, correct?
Right, so
They
for,
could be eligible, but there's just not enough money
Right.
at this point to be allocated for that.
Yeah, if you saw something that you guys did want to fund, then it exceeded that 300,000, I mean, you're free to do that,
Yeah, and that would just come out of that,
internal or unallocated.
the 2 million that the county has.
okay. So are you gonna just go through the whole thing then, or, I mean, I'd like to stick to these numbers here.
Yeah, I would too.
Or you, what their recommended
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, and I like their formula.
Yep.
I was fine with the
You're happy,
formula, taking the
yeah,
percentage.
Yeah.
we can do
Yeah,
that for
I-
the cities and the schools, if you guys are happy with that, I can.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to sit down and figure out, okay, you got 425,000 for the communities, but we're only got 300,000, so, you know, it's kind of a moot point to approve.
So if, could we
I can
go
tell you
ahead
which
and
numbers
do those
are
do those that correspond to, I mean, obviously the city would be the 277, 447, 50. Is that right? Is that right, Teresa?
So like, we're going A04060.
Yeah,
That's City of Jefferson, so
Right.
our recommendation is 277, 44750, that's correct.
you guys good with that?
Yep.
And that's for both of those? No, just
Just
that first 300,000.
just AO 4060.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it
Correct.
takes care of that.
So I move we approve A-04060 for $277,447.50.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna skip 4066 and 4135 just for the moment. Those
Okay.
two are fire districts. I put them up in the municipalities, but I did not include them in the city's allocation. I thought that they could be included in some of the unallocated money in other or the internal. So we can discuss that if that's okay with you guys, or if I
Yeah,
can
that's-
move on to the other cities and
No, we-
get those approved right now.
We can do those later, or,
Yeah.
So
okay,
the A04151, that's for Russellville.
okay,
And I have 14,984.12
okay,
as my suggested allocation.
good.
Yeah.
I move we approve A-04151 for $14,984.12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then for 04155 and 04157, those are both Centertown applications. So a combination between those two of 756838. If you would like, we could approve the 2,000 for the 04157 and then the remainder for 04155, however you guys want to do it.
That's fine. You guys want to do the 2,000 and then do the remainder on the other?
Yeah. That's-
You good with that? Okay, I move
What
we,
if they want to spend it all on 4155 and then?
I'll give them that option.
Yeah,
or we could just approve both for a total.
total of 7,560.
That's fine. We can do that as well.
Just, I mean, as long as they know that they can do it however they want to, is where I'm at with it.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know
Yeah.
if we were limiting what they could spend the 2,000 on.
As long, I mean, it's all eligible costs, so,
Yeah, it's all
Okay, as
eligible.
long as everybody agrees.
so we want to do both of them for a total here? Is that, okay. I move we approve A-04155 and A-04157 for a total of $7,568.38.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll go ahead and move down to the schools then, and
Okay.
you guys can approve those. If you want to go.
I got some,
So-
I got some conflicts here too, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
It's all right, I know which ones they are.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Jefferson City Public School, we are suggesting 241,682.35.
That's B03965. Is that right?
241,682.35.
Right, but
Oh,
B-03965.
I'm sorry, yeah, B03965.
Bingo.
Come on, catch up, catch up.
BR
right.
5439.
All right, I move we approve B-03965 for $241,682.35.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For B04055, we are suggesting an allocation of $18,443.55 in total.
That's for Russellville.
Correct.
Okay. I move we approve B-04055 for $18,443.55.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For B04067, we are suggesting the approval of the $15,000 for the Chromebooks.
Okay. I move we approve B-04067 for $15,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then for B04164, we are suggesting approving $4,635 in total.
Okay. I move we approve B-04164 for $4,635.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So Chris, you're okay on this one. So C04106, we are suggesting approving an amount of 3610 for janitorial services.
That's for River Oaks.
Correct.
Okay.
And these private ones will have to do the purchasing form?
right?
Correct, and I talked to, I can't remember what her name is right now, but I double checked that these were not reimbursements, these are invoices that have not been paid yet, that's why you see that request number different from the eligible cost number, because I got with her to see exactly what had not been paid yet, so that amount has not been paid.
So the janitorial services, are they contracting with someone?
I'd have to look up to see who it is.
I don't wanna be in payroll problems.
River Oaks.
River Oaks is with Midstate.
Okay,
Okay.
we can pay that vendor.
Good.
Thompson Management Group doing business as Midstate Janitorial.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Move we approve C-04106 for $3,610.
second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'm out on these next two.
Wait a minute, which one was that?
River,
That's,
First.
River Oaks,
C dash zero
Oh,
four one
36.
zero.
3610.
I had the wrong number here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, that was the very
So-
first one, right?
Yes. Correct. So
No.
C-04158,
Oh, there it
we
is.
are recommending 13,066.14.
that's Trinity.
13.
I move that we approve C-04158, A, B, and C in the amount of 13,06614.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
abstain.
And finally, for the schools, I'm recommending C-04163 for $3,562.96 for some air purifiers and supplies.
I move that we approve C-04163 for $3,562.96.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Next one on the list is gonna be the COVID educational campaign. I'm not sure if this has been in front of you. Julie and I both have some hesitation with this. I did keep it in the eligible cost just because, it might run over into the next year. It looks like, I think they'll have some of the things done before the new year starts, but I think some of the ads are running in next year, some of the print advertising, things like that. So Julie and I were thinking it might be a better idea to use that $75,000 towards the public health and safety and set aside $75,000 for the health department. That way that there just isn't any confusion about whether or not that moved over into the 2021 year. Is there any questions with that, concerns?
Going to move it to where? To the health department for
So,
educational stuff?
Education?
That has to be
Yeah,
spent
so-
before the end of the year?
The issue is any ads or anything that run past 12:30, then the actual event is past, the CARES Act deadline. So, one option you have is only approving the portion that's done in December, or to Teresa's point, if you just utilize the $75,000 on your public health and public safety, it frees up $75,000 in your budget to go ahead and spend that money, but you just don't have the strings attached that you would have in CARES Act.
yeah, you just wouldn't use the CARES Act to actually spend this money. You would spend the CARES Act money on the public health and safety, and then use $75,000 of your own leftover money after that to do this.
So what she's saying is salaries,
We just want to be really careful
public
with
health
those
and
items
safety
that are
salaries.
blending over to
You
that
just
2021 year.
reimburse yourself
just to
for
make
those
sure that they
salaries.
don't get
Sorry.
rejected when we do report
And we can do that?
expenses.
That's how we're gonna,
Absolutely.
that's how we're gonna do a lot of that.
Yeah, that's how we're, the.
Or we put it back
EMS.
into the money that's left, and that's probably pretty much what we were gonna do with it
I
anyway,
mean, it's,
right?
yeah, basically all the same. I mean, it's all. Public
I'm
health
not
and
for doing
safety
this anyway,
salaries.
so the 75.
Well-
That education stuff.
Talking with Chrissy, we're gonna do a lot more than just wearing masks.
Because if you don't know what's going on, whether you live. under
No,
a
this is,
rock.
So we've talked before about how the health department doesn't have a health educator. We have a nurse who does some health education. But, marketing people and people that do that for a living, they know how to make messages creative. They're not just like, hey, wash your hands.
We had ideas yesterday.
They make it creative, and it's not, we don't want this to be punitive where it's just, you better do this or else. We want to motivate people, and we want to teach them the right things to do for their immune system. It's not just about COVID. Like I said, we've talked before about having some educational campaigns on, boosting your immune system, healthy habits, because, chronic disease, those underlying risk factors are definitely contributing.
That's part of the health department, though, is to educate, promote that stuff, so.
Right.
Yeah,
We don't have a health educator or a public relations person
Well,
or a
even
marketing
when
person.
to call an ambulance, we were talking about that. I mean, you can do all kinds of things that actually
Right.
can be run as PSAs after this, as long as the TV stations, radio stations will run them as PSAs.
Right.
Once you've got the ads made, they don't all have to be just COVID.
Right, and like I said, we don't have the equipment or the staff to make fancy TV commercials at the health department. That's why we wanted some outside firm to be able to really, make some fancy, ads
As long as we
with
see
doctors.
What it
things
is
like that.
before we do it.
Jeff
Well,
had a
that's
good
why we
ad
want-
about taking some videos at deer camps.
Oh, perfect.
So we might have had those.
Sorry, that's what we were laughing about up here. We digressed yesterday and had some rather vulgar
It's called slap happy.
thoughts.
Bad. And that's why I wanted Jennifer Walken to basically be the point person and be in charge of the campaign, but work with the marketing people too. So Jennifer would basically be in charge of it, but work with them to make our messages more appealing and more marketing, because Jennifer is awesome. She's an awesome nurse, but she's not a marketing person. And tailoring those messages that appeal to people that really make a difference is what we need. So,
And, in any of the costs related to developing and getting everything pulled together, as long as that's all done by the end of the year, by December 30th, that would count. But if there's any costs related to, running the ads or any of those kinds of things past that deadline, those could not be reimbursed.
so maybe we just need to approve it for a portion of the cost, not the total $75,000.
I don't wanna approve it for any of it. If you wanna do an ad, bring me the ad and the cost, then we can just spend the money, cause it's basically gonna free up money at that time. If putting more ads on TV is not gonna do anything at this point, cause if you're not catching it on TV, people don't even know what to believe right now. It's
Well, that's-
crazy, and I'm sorry, Chris, you're all doing too good of a job, probably, getting too much information out there. And now they're changing the rules, so
Right.
it even gets weirder, to put it nicely. So now if you put that information out there too, that's why with this mailing that we're doing, I thought that was a good idea, because we're gonna have some educational stuff. People can look at it, and, when I had COVID, I just followed the boxes
Right.
down there, wrote down a date, I knew exactly what was going on, it helped a lot.
So I just
But that changed too.
emailed him, and they haven't printed our inserts yet. They've been
Good.
busy making the
Good,
masks.
good.
So I just emailed him while I was over there rudely typing while you guys were talking, and they said if we send it to them, they're gonna print them next week. So, because, they had to make, they make the mask right here in Missouri, so they've been making the mask and
Okay.
assembling the boxes. They haven't printed their inserts yet, so we can still get our
Good.
change in
So when they gonna print those?
next week. So Jim
So
was
nothing
actually.
changes between now and then?
I just proofread it before I came over, while I was listening to a vaccine call and while I was listening to all the local public health agencies yell at DHSS on the phone, so.
So if we tell people, there's a lot of people that don't want the box, they like to send it back. I've told them to take it to your churches or your
Yeah,
schools.
yeah. The
Yeah.
schools would probably like to have
So,
those, because they're
they're-
medical grade surgical masks, or give it to the hospitals, because those critical infrastructure workers can work.
Okay, in the hospitals.
Yeah,
and
they
get-
can
there's
work
plenty of places
if
that
they
can go
have
with it.
those medical grade
If they don't.
surgical
These are
masks.
70% effective as opposed
He said
to
they're.
something
yeah.
that's 20% effective.
Now, how do you
ones-
know that?
Because we sit on all
They
these
have-
Right,
Monday
right.
The
calls.
salesperson actually
I
said
know.
they're.
Oh, the
they're-
salesperson
So
said
they're
it. I definitely
98.
believe it then.
Yeah, they're 98% effective down to 0.1 microns. So
Right.
Yeah, hey, And they're made in Missouri.
Hey,
See,
late
I
afternoon,
like that even
I'm a little more
better.
pessimistic. I'm not gonna believe it all. But I like the socks. I bet those are probably 97% effective.
So I'm a little bit with Jeff on we've given the public so much information that nobody knows what to believe. I mean, I do like the idea of doing educational material. I'm a little concerned that, somebody's going to hijack our message. And Jeff, the mayor does not speak for Cole County. So when she's telling you guys whatever in your little news thing, the mayor does not speak for me or Cole County. So if you correct that. But anyway, I think the message has been so messed up, but I mean, the educational material I believe could help.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I would try, I guess.
but
that's
I agree that we need to have control over that message and make sure that we're putting out the message
Well, I think-
that the county wants to put out.
I think EMS needs to have some messages. And it's not just TV, it's gonna be newspaper, radio, Twitter.
media.
So it's gonna try to get to all age groups.
Get an airplane with the sign behind it,
I like that.
with your helicopter.
Yeah, John's working on one for
All
us.
right, you better keep us going here. I'm gonna digress again.
Okay,
All right, where we
so,
at?
it's probably gonna be easier just to run it through the health than try to say, okay, we're gonna spend this much by December 30th on
I say we put it
production.
into our internal stuff,
Yeah,
and then we
yeah.
can spend
Yeah. Well,
just
But-
whatever on it later on.
But
Yeah.
if we're going to move forward, we need to get going on it.
yep,
So
All right, well, I'm gonna skip the healthcare just for the moment and jump down to the nonprofits and the small businesses. I did try to contact everybody on this list to see if they had any information, to kind of clear up, some last minute, if this would be eligible or not. For the nonprofit, the only one that I feel comfortable with the eligibility is gonna be F04100. This is some telework equipment for, the staff for the, Jefferson City Chamber of Commerce. And then for the small businesses, we had two down there, GO405, one was just rent, and then GO4136, and this was a restaurant that had some items for the to-go, to carry out, and some PPE, and both of those in the amount of $5,000.
I guess I'm a little lost. So so we're not going to do any health care or,
We are, I want to
Okay.
get through these, because I think healthcare we'll be talking about for a while.
okay.
Trying to do the low hanging fruits.
Yep.
You probably just got it backwards. We're probably gonna turn this on you.
yeah, the chamber was actually closed due to COVID outbreaks. So.
A lot of places were.
Mhm.
So it was the small businesses and the chamber, was that the two?
Correct.
Yeah, 4100 and then 4050 and 4136.
I move we approve G-04050 for 5,000.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I move we approve G-04136 for 5,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion.
I'm okay with it.
I move that we
So-
approve F04100 for 25,000.
Did you say the number right? Second, I think you did, never mind.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, so, I guess we can jump into healthcare, then we'll jump back up to A, for those two, fire, protection districts. So, with the healthcare, we've got a handful that, provided applications. Let me pull up my list of who these all are so I can tell you who's gotten funding before. Okay, so E03888, they're requesting some thermometers. This was one that you provided them with some funding before, $23,968 of funding before. This amount is eligible, but it just depends on if that's something you still want to be funding, and if they've already received funding, do you want to fund them again? E04062, this is a entity that has not been funded before. What they are doing is they had purchased a lot of Chromebooks and gave them to their patients so that they could do telehealth from home. So they are only requesting a portion of those Chromebooks, and that totals $7,650. For E04121, this is Cap Region, and this is their testing for the mobile unit for not the rest of the year, but it's kind of an estimate for the rest of the year. I think we could get there with what you've given them already and their expenses through about October to fund them fully if we needed to do that. E04177A, this is a new healthcare entity. This is a senior care kind of facility, and they were requesting some hotspots so that some of their clients, they could do telehealth from home. And they also had quite a bit of payroll increase because of COVID. They had like the adult care people that would come in, like their kids or somebody like that couldn't come in because of COVID. So they would have people go out there and help them, and they were not charging those clients excess money. They didn't have the money to pay for that, so they just went out and did that. So that's the increased payroll of $13,731. And then finally, E04166. This is St. Mary's, and they are asking for a handful of things. And for the most part, the two big items on here are the Philips ventilators and the Xenix disinfector. Those two items have not been purchased yet, so keep that in mind. And I think the cones have been purchased and some of the other items on there. But yeah, they're asking for a range of items, including ventilators, cones for the test sites, scanners for their testing site, a label printer for their testing site, this Abbott 4 testing instrument, which is I think it tests the actual sample, but I'd have to get a little further clarification on that. And then that's the next disinfector to be used at the testing site, I believe. So that's what I've got for the medical. I don't know exactly how you want to divvy this out. So.
How many
No, we could
cones?
talk about
How many cones for the testing site did they get?
It was a lot of cones. I think it was 100 and something. Cones.
Jesus.
It was 98.
So how much have we approved so far today? We had 300 and 300 and then another 35 and,
Correct. So 635 right now is what I've got.
okay. And so what was our,
I hope we don't pay that much for cones.
We spent 1.4, right, for healthcare.
So didn't we have another 300,000
For healthcare.
for healthcare? So, again, we kind of thinking through that methodology of either, funding some of these smaller ones that have not been funded before, and then, go to just either distributing the remaining amount based on tests. I think that was kind of what we did before. We could do, the prorated amounts based on the total requested.
I'm good with doing it that way, to split it up with them. This is the last of it, right? We're
Yeah,
not-
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
I'm good with the new ones that have not received any funding before yet. Trying to give them a piece of the pie.
So that would be E04062 and E04177.
And
Those two have not received funding before.
Okay. And the 38888, that one has received funding.
That one has received funding, yes.
And you said that was what, 23,000 or something?
Yeah, they've gotten 23,968.
So we got about less, I mean, if you wanted to fund all those, it'd still be less than 30,000 between the three.
The 3888 as well, since they hadn't received as much, but
I mean, it's, I don't know.
Julie and Teresa, what's the
$1,000.
90,549 and unallocated in the other section?
So that was just kind of what was left over in the not-for-profits and the small businesses after we did the kind of redistributing the 300,000. So that's kind of what we left over to pay for any not-for-profits or small businesses that still applied, instead of giving them a specific allocation like we did with the 300,000s.
And I think we were also planning on maybe using some of that money for these 5 districts.
Correct, if that's something that they wanted to
So
fund.
those are, those are 2
You guys
others
want to
that
approve
we're
those 3
considering.
small ones, or?
I think, I mean, this is.
So you could
this
take
is
those
when
3
we're
small
giving
ones out of
the
that and reallocate the
300,000, so
300,000 to the hospitals based on testing.
I mean, we need, the hospitals are the ones that are doing all the testing and everything else, so, I
I'm doing
mean,
all the testing. Yeah, lots of people doing testing. We do testing.
for,
Well,
no, we need to give the 300,000, we need to disperse it however you want to the new applications and then the rest to the hospitals.
So what about the 3 small ones? Are we gonna do all 3 of them, or are you guys good with that, or?
I was fine doing the 3 small ones, yeah.
Good, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. I move we approve E-03888 for $1,023.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
I move we approve E-04062 for $7,650.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I move we approve E-04177 for $17,106.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So what's that leave us for healthcare?
So that will leave us with 274,221. And if we want to do the split, as we've done it in the past between St. Mary's and Cap Region, that would get us to,
What about that 90,000 you were talking about, or
Well,
something?
like I said, you could take those extra healthcare and even those extra municipalities out of that 90,000 and allocate the whole 300 between the 2 hospitals if you wanted. Because we're not gonna have any more nonprofits or small businesses, so that money's still on the table.
yeah, the only thing with that, I don't know if, the one that I would kind of maybe hold out, Cole County Historical Society, they were one that sent their application in at the very end. So I sent them some questions on that, and I haven't heard back from them, so I don't know if that's something that you would want to wait for. I know they've been closed basically since the pandemic started, so just trying to get a little more information on budget versus, what is actual COVID-related costs is a little harder for them, so.
But their max would still be 25,000, right?
Correct.
Well, I know, I've been talking to them, and so they could still be eligible in the not-for-profits?
So that would be the only one I would think out of these that I can't bring forward would possibly still have information. The other ones I've been sending emails for a long time and haven't heard anything back, so I don't think I'm gonna get anything from them. But yes, Cole County, I just sent them.
So we could sit on that.
On Monday.
So even if you gave them the 25,000, you still would only be 87,216 with those three healthcare providers and the 2 fire districts. So you'd still be under that $90,000 allocation with those applications.
Oh, I forgot about the fire
So you're
district.
saying do the 2 fire districts out of the not-for-profit?
I think you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they are.
I mean, because you've already allocated your 300,000 for cities to those cities, so I think you could use the fire districts as part of that unallocated. Same thing with those other healthcare providers, the smaller ones that aren't hospitals.
That would give more to the hospitals.
And then you divide that 300,000 total between the 2 hospitals based on their testing percentages that we've used in the past.
Correct, so if you wanted to do that with the full 300,000, Cap Region would be 175,813, and St. Mary's would be 124,187.
Say that again.
For, if you want to do the total 300,000 to
Right.
each hospital, and then take the other small ones out of the unallocated,
Right.
you would get 175,813 for Cap Region, and 124,187 for St. Mary's.
You guys good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff?
Get her done. Either that or we're going into overtime here.
No, we're not done yet, but we're making pretty good progress.
There's 1,000 different ways to do
Yeah.
it, so.
I move we approve E-04121 for $175,813.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And then I move we approve E-04166 for $124,187.
All, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll second it.
Rush me, man.
So we gotta go back and pick up the
Right.
2 fire districts.
Yeah.
So then,
Yep. So the last 2 are gonna be A04066. They're asking for mobile and digital scanners and radios. This is the Cole County Fire Protection District, and that amount is 31,613.
Good with both of these?
yeah.
I move we approve A-04066 for $31,613.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move we
then
approve
the last-
A-04135 for $4,825.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Sorry.
Keep your momentum
We're,
going.
Yeah.
we're giving money away.
Don't slow us down.
Don't slow down on my account. Okay, that's everything I had. I think with that, the unallocated amount we would have left over is, looks like about $30,000. I'm doing my quick math, all right. So we'll either put that back into the internal or use that for maybe that Cole County Historical Society, and we'll present that to you if we do get enough information on that one.
So
So I think that's all I had, Julie. Did you have-
Yeah, the only other thing I was gonna say, so our recommendation would be that we go ahead and do a press release saying that the external application process is complete and that, the county's not taking any additional external applications. And at that point, then it's just a matter of any internal spending that needs to happen, determining how we want to do payroll. And then, if anybody for any reason doesn't get their funds spent, we can,
Yeah.
we can give, I think we could probably give them, they have 10 days to reply to the subrecipient agreement. So that's gonna put them right at the 15th, so it seems like we could probably just coincide all of that together.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll send out emails to all those other subrecipients that we have gotten agreements from that we haven't gotten the information as far as being able to fund and reimburse those. So I'll send the emails to everybody. I'm gonna try to do that by tomorrow, just to let them know we need everything by the 15th.
Teresa, has everyone signed their subrecipient agreement within the 10 days other than the private schools that refused the funding?
There was 2 businesses that did not sign theirs within the 10 days, so those were part of that 36,000 that we put back in. There was one that decided that they did not want the money, so they did not sign. And then I think the only one that was, I think we've gotten all, Lincoln University, now that we've got that subrecipient agreement figured out.
Can you send me in an email the one that decided not to take the funding so we can document that on our side?
Yeah, I got that list.
And then can you make sure you send me the applications from today?
I will do that.
And if
And then we'll
there's,
just do a full accounting for, I'm assuming we're gonna have a call next,
Yeah, Tuesday.
yeah, so we'll kind of do just a full accounting of where we are to date, so that, you kind of know what you have left to work with.
And then Julie, will you send us something to put on the website about not taking any additional applications? We'll get that up on there.
Yep, we'll do that today.
whatever we,
Well, it's kind of late, we'll, if whatever we don't get done, it'll be like first thing in the morning.
Okay.
and I guess your software vendor will then take that off of our or take down that application, or is that up to us just to take it off?
I believe it would be for you all to
Just remove the link.
Yeah,
remove the
Yeah.
link, exactly.
okay.
And then we'll notify them, that they're not, if they get anything, basically, it would just be rejected. And we can do like probably just a return email or something that says, no longer accepting applications.
And then Teresa, I will have reports for you today of the money being spent out of the emergency fund. I should have those reports to you by the end of the day.
Jennifer sent me something.
Yep, she got you scans, but I think there's 3 more that have check numbers and stuff on it that I need to get to you yet, so.
Gotcha, perfect.
And then we'll be back to 9 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay, 9 o'clock, okay.
I move that we close the CARES funding application process.
Second.
All in
Huh?
favor?
The external kids, not gonna.
All,
put it in.
all.
No, we need to
Huh?
make ours. We need to make ours, so.
Well, ours is all public health and safety, right?
Yeah,
Is that right?
I guess
There might be some for courts.
it'll be for
Huh?
January.
We're still working on getting a final estimate for fixing that window. Would that still be considered public health and safety?
It's internal.
And then what's
Internal.
And he
John,
was saying close all
what's
applications.
John
I was
doing?
gonna say-
We're not actually applying, are we?
We are.
Yeah.
They're still reviewing before we purchase to make sure that
Qualifies.
everything we're doing qualifies. Unless you're at this point saying nothing else and you're taking the rest for payroll.
What does it really matter at that point?
However you wanna do it.
I mean, that's certainly gonna be the most efficient,
So,
because that allows you to do whatever you need to do going forward, and you're not, we could just go ahead and move forward with getting that done, because that will take some time, just because there's certain requirements that we have to do in terms of payroll registers and things like that, so.
Well, so what about the emergency fund stuff that I just sent? So we have not approved that through there yet. Should we not do it?
Half a dozen of this, 12 the other. I think we can do it either way.
Which way do you want to do
I
it?
mean, it's coming from you guys internally, so if you'd rather spend out that stuff that you sent me, we can report that.
I haven't even done the track.
And then
Payroll.
anything left over.
you just wanna change it to external?
Well, that's what I was just asking them. I mean, it don't matter to me, but I mean,
I think
the
there's a-
quicker we close it out, the quicker we finalize final reports and,
I just would like to get that through the end of
Okay.
November done before
It's fine.
and then from there on, we won't do anything else through there.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
so we'll amend the motion to make it external CARES funding application.
Okay, I'll second the amended motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then we can't even get any money.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll see you guys
you.
next week.
Thank you all, take care.
So-
Bye.
What's the deadline for the internal stuff?
I'm sorry.
We kinda control that, so we can,
I'd say the 15th. I mean, we have to have the answer by the 15th.
We're pushing them to get a final estimate. But then I also wanted to ask about like that on-call pay and the overtime that we talked about before.
I think ours is a little more flexible because we have control over it. So if we're wanting to buy a tent to put up down here, per se, if we wanna get it on the 20th, Of course, I know we wanna have it decided that we wanna do that beforehand, but
I haven't reviewed the payroll numbers. What did
so measured, that's, right around,
As far as what she's talking about.
from the curb to
No,
the building,
just
there's
payroll in
32,
general.
and there's
We're
about
talking
a
about just
2-foot
taking it.
little offset from
Probably
the
not.
courthouse.
I mean, you don't have
So
to
it's
justify it.
30 foot
It's
and nailed it.
payroll.
Yeah,
You
if
win
it-
free
She doesn't
socks
want it
from
by the hour.
Sam.
Who's
if it snows, I can put my link
There
under
you
my
go.
It's not gonna
Corvette
fit
in
with my
that,
truck
in that,
under there.
Which I don't
in that
agree with, but-
What are you doing?
cover.
Total
It's
of
gonna
health
cover both our
department
spots, all right? We're
Good,
We'll make
okay.
sure we do this right.
Sheriff's
It's gonna be somebody.
So when the courts are, when the courts are closed
Don't run over
down,
somebody.
courts are closed down, we'll just make it private
We'll
parking.
get some of those $30 cones they have and put them up.
I don't know.
I hope we don't pay that much for cones.
So do we have any sub-recipient agreements to sign?
Not today.
Okay.
So I'd like to get Christie moving on this educational stuff, and just move that forward and then, you know, if she can get that back to us or whatever, but, I know you don't want to spend any money,
You all
but
got the 2 yeses, go for
Yeah.
it.
So you want the health department to contract with Bucket Media instead of sending it through CARES, and you want us to be in charge of the message, and you want to approve it? I just
yes.
want to be clear with the direction.
Yeah, I think we need to be,
Yeah.
So
Since it's
not going to
coming-
be that consortium group, it's going to be the health department that's in charge of working with
It's
that
not gonna
group.
be the mayor and Sam in the commercials?
No.
no,
We'll get you a
No,
little
I-
cardboard
no.
COVID cutout.
I'm gonna wear my
Yes,
tux.
so
I just want clear
my
direction.
opinion, I'd like for Jennifer to be in charge. I'd like for her to consult with, you know, doctors
The
and
hospitals.
hospitals and
Their marketing
others.
staff,
But,
yeah.
but I'd like for the message to possibly come back here for approval.
We can do that.
But,
We want to talk to
Do you want to do the
Lavery, too.
75,000, or do you want to make it less?
I say about $7.50. What can we get for that?
No.
well, you sure don't want us doing the message, because ours would have been rather funny, but it wouldn't have.
It involves some chili and a free COVID test.
COVID testing.
And some type of
It'd be
doctor.
worse than the zipper merge commercial thing we did with the card.
He's still gonna record it. We'll see.
But yeah, I'm
Oh, sorry, Christie.
comfortable with that $75,000.
Okay.
70s afternoon.
Are you good with that $75,000 kind
Okay.
of
Yes.
target?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. We will reach out and we will do that.
You're not gonna slash my tires, are you?
Too late.
And I guess her, is that a professional service, I guess?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
So,
Yeah.
you just put that in our professional services budget. So that's a professional service.
well, that won't have to be bid or anything since it's a professional service, will it?
And how much was it?
75,000?
And most of it being spent next year?
I would say there's a small amount that we would spend this year.
If you can just show
It'll
me
be
that vendor,
produced this year.
we'll set up a
I would
PO,
think, but-
and then you'll have to carry it forward. Do they have a professional service? Yeah, it's a nurse practitioner. Okay,
You can keep that. I can print it out.
I'll probably have to get their W-9 and stuff. 75,000
Thank you.
in the regular budget.
I might want to think about that. Do you guys want to hold the money you're taking for payroll and set it aside to be used for CARES?
I was gonna ask you, do you wanna set up a separate fund? for
I
that?
don't think fund, but I think you're definitely gonna need to put it in somewhere that money's still, I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be restricted at this point, but do you still wanna use it on COVID-related expenses? So in that circumstance, I think we should set up an expense line, and any expenses like this would run through that line.
You're the
Yeah, an
doctor.
extra, additional fund, like its own fund or something?
Not a
or-
fund, just its own account, so like its
Right.
own line in the budget would be,
It's more of a tracking
yes,
mechanism.
yes.
And I would think you'd put it through 127, so the commission's the only one that would have approval of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather
So if we
do
have,
that
like,
than piecemeal it
Yeah.
around.
We'll never find
So
this
if we
back.
have like
Right.
additional printing of the contact tracing guidelines or things like that in the new year, it could come out of that fund. that
So it
we
would be
set
kind of
aside.
like our emergency funds we have set up right now that we used before
Once
we
get
had
that
CARES
truck,
funding.
we
We would
need
have
to
a
do
line that we set up to be, you know, Cole County CARES or Cole County, you know, we'll figure out a name for it,
I like
but.
that. Cole County cares.
Yeah, I do.
We do
I
care.
do like that. We do.
Gonna have to.
Yeah, that's very fitting. Get that down, Jeff. You could use that as a heading, the heading of the article. Cole
It's
County
gonna have to go
cares.
back to the funds, but I think you should do all of the health
Yeah,
department.
it's excited.
Been here all day. You're gonna eat another McRib?
That's the payroll.
Okay, anything else?
No,
Like I said, I had that question about like the on-call pay and the overtime, but I guess we'll get to that when we talk about payroll. And I thought I submitted that overtime, but maybe I did not.
I didn't see any, not to me.
Did I submit just the hours to you? I'm sorry. Might have got a little sidetracked. And then the on-call pay, I know that like Dana put it in the spreadsheet, but she didn't specify like who and how many hours it was. She just
See,
put like a
this is
total,
talking
so you
about
would need
on-call
a
pay,
detailed
too.
spreadsheet of who it was and how many hours it was.
And the day, if she can get the day.
Okay.
Because we probably should have been putting that on the time sheets, but.
Well, we put it on our Excel timesheets
Yeah.
that didn't go into the BS, as we call it.
Yes. Our system BS.
So, on that maintenance agreement thing, that you saw the emails, right?
I will send it. I have my.
I don't know, I'm leaning towards not doing it for $2,000 a year. I'm gonna try to take a chance and, I mean, even if you have a service call, like LV said, you've got, you know, $500 and plus some parts in there, but it's still under 2,000. And if it's 4 or 5 years, not how long it's gonna last, about pay for a new one with that. So, I don't know where you guys are at. I was just gonna try to give Kristen some direction so she can, that was the only thing you were really waiting on, weren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, if they think that it's valuable and needed, then, you know, let them pay for it.
I think LV said that in the email.
I like
if-
that. I'm,
That he
I'd
probably
leave it
will.
out.
He's gonna use it, so I think he said he'd be willing to pay for it, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he said necessarily that
Okay.
one way or the other. but-
Leave it out at the
Leave it
moment.
out,
If
leave
you
it out.
change your mind, let me
Okay.
know.
Executive
For the
decision.
overtime. Or just-
All right,
The
anything
one
else?
thing that does make
Anything
a lot of
else?
sense though is if you do
I
have
don't
the
understand.
maintenance
You're
agreement,
asking for
you make a
your
phone call,
overtime
then
to be
you get moved
reimbursed.
to top of the list or
Right.
get to the front. so-
You're a little more of a priority.
Anything else?
And it's always gonna break when you're needed.
No. No,
To me, it has to be here and we could use some of this. but-
right.
No,
Uh,
And then just that's.
I don't think so.
No, we just-
Payroll out of. I mean, I guess we could.
We could.
The on-call pay.
we'll sign a contract at some point, probably Dawn, and so, should get that worked out.
But I mean, really, you're gonna get all of her payroll.
Anything
reimbursed.
else?
No.
Maybe we stand in recess till 4:30.
If it's,
Second.
if it's,
All in
It's
favor?
not them.
Aye.
It's people like me and Donna and Chris and Joe that don't get it. They just, we ate.
What was it, 4:00 yesterday?
Nobody got paid for it, nobody got compensated for it.
Yeah? I
yeah,
think it was
so
about
they're
4
talking
o'clock
about
yesterday,
taking your whole
4:30 or
payroll
something.
from March through December and reimbursing the county for it.
Oh, okay. But
So-
this was not paid.
Huh?
This was not paid.
That's not been paid yet.
I
Cole
don't
County
know, I
cares,
don't know that
Jeff.
it really is gonna matter at that point.
I mean, if we did pay it.